Hi all, I have an interesting game for the London Chess Classic FIDE Open to show you. My good friend Alex Ethelontis was playing black against I am John Cox, COX. So c4, knight f6. For those of you who might remember, I played a wet lettuce game against John Cox a few years back in London Classic. And I had some opportunities but lost in the end. It was an interesting game nevertheless. So e5, bishop g2. Now usually d5 or knight c6 is played here, but this has been played before as well. It's a very interesting waiting move, preventing pins later with bishop g5, which might strengthen white's control of the d5 square. Knight c3. In the English opening, this d5 square is the central concern for white. Bishop b4. Threatening to double the pawns. This can be annoying. Queen b3 saves against the doubling of pawns and hits the bishop. The bishop's protected. e3, going to deploy the knight on e2, it seems, and that happens. Knight c6, white castles d6, knight a4 now. This does leave this knight a bit loose, and actually that's attacked to try and provoke some weaknesses. Now f3 is played. I think it looks very awkward to play knight ec3. Let's have a quick look actually. Should white be playing f3? Actually, rook e1's mentioned as one of the top things. f3 is mentioned, but also, I mean, this is it's not entirely terrible. It looks strange. So okay, so we have this f3 theoretically weakening white's position a bit. Bishop e6, and now b5 is threatened. This is actually kind of showing, isn't the queen kind of awkwardly placed? She moves back. Queen d7, as though, well, maybe bishop h3 in the future, but also in this position, something like d5 or putting the bishop back might be possible, even allowing the double pawns to get a good bind on d4. We have d4 played by white. E takes, and another, well, white is threatening d5, so bishop f5 with tempo on the queen again. Queen d1. Now a very interesting moment. Rook f e8, and actually black seems to be slightly better here. Now white played a move which maybe is the first significant mistake, and I wonder if you can pick up on it. Rook f2 was played. Perhaps better was knight going to knight e to c3, that awkward move that I mentioned earlier. Now here black has a very interesting move which Alex picked up on. Black to play. Can you guess what black plays here? If I give you 5 seconds to pause the video, what would you play with black in this position? So your opponent is an international master, and 200 points nearly above your rating, but everybody has his day. That's something that we should all remember, and this was a good day, maybe. So black to play, played knight takes d4. Yeah, because there's certain tactical vulnerabilities in this position. The knight is looking silly on a4, so if queen takes d4, there's queen takes a4. That's good for black. Now what was played was actually knight takes d4, which allowed check, winning the queen. But yeah, it's for a bit of material. Let's see what happens now. Rook f1, bishop drops back. Black is technically doing great. b3, we have rook e8. This diagonal seems great from earlier, that provoking at f3. Bishop b2, bishop h3, trying to weaken perhaps white's king further. Rook ad1, that's taken off. b6, rook f2. We have knight h7 now, maybe going to be probing the h3 square soon. That's stopped, but creating a few more weaknesses, maybe. Knight f8, g4. Again, there's a lot of pawn moves in this game around white's king. g6, this is now around black's king. Is this dangerous to weaken the dark squares? a3. We have bishop e1, a nice forcing move here. limiting white's options. Let's have a look at this position. Rook e2 was played. Otherwise, perhaps, well, h4 looks to be dropping, so it's a nice kind of skewer move. So rook e2, bishop takes h4, knight c3. Is this dangerous, though, coming into these dark squares, maybe? Knight e6, that's taken. Rook takes. Knight e4, but it's secure at the moment, f6. So black just plays f5. Yeah, f5. G takes, knight c3. And now there's a nice finishing little tactic in this position. Queen g7 check. So we've got a potential pin against, pardon me, the bishop. But this does mean, let's have a look at this final position. So if king h1, we can see that pin in operation. Rook takes e2. We got the pinned bishop. We can just take the pin against the bishop. In which case, if king f1, rook takes e2, the king is forced to take. But now queen g2 check makes up the bishop. Yeah, queen g7 check finishes the game. Move 32. A great game from Alex. Great novelty idea, h6. I seem to remember that might have been played against him by an IM when he was playing white, actually, at some point. But anyway, we pick up these ideas and we use them. What goes around comes around. It's. I think it was a nice little game there, and yeah, well done to Alex. Okay, and by the way, Alex and me are members of Muswell Hill Chess Club. And there were quite a few Muswell Hill players playing in the FIDE Open. I wish I could play, but I had time constraints this year. So if you want to join Muswell Hill, it's a great club in North London. Check it out, muswellhillchessclub.com. Okay, comments, questions, likes, appreciated. Thanks very much.